There has been a Masonic presence in Swansea since the 1700s, when the Gnoll Lodge of Neath moved to Swansea and was renamed Indefatigable Lodge, which is part defined as being tireless, having perseverance, sincerity, and fortitude. There were no purpose-built lodge premises to hold meetings, so taverns, inns, hotels, private rooms, and the assembly rooms in Swansea were used as meeting places. Swansea's first purpose-built Masonic Lodge was constructed by the Indefatigable Lodge at Caer Street. Provincial Grand Master Theodore Mansell Talbot laid the foundation stone in 1871, and the premises were dedicated in 1872. This building was destroyed in an air raid on Swansea during World War II. In 1922, as Freemasonry became ever more popular in Swansea, a property known as Brunswick House, St Helens Road, was purchased and a Masonic Hall built in its grounds. The Masonic temples were dedicated in 1926. Freemasonry is one of the world's oldest and largest non-religious, non-political societies and charitable organizations. It teaches self-knowledge through participation in a progression of ceremonies. Freemasons are a group of men who believe in a set of core values: peace, goodness, and equality in men. Members are expected to be of moral high standing and are encouraged to speak openly about Freemasonry. Today, there are 24 Masonic craft lodges meeting at St Helens Road, also 14 Royal Arch chapters, and many other Masonic degrees and orders, and it continues to be owned by its members through subscriptions by lodges. The company elects a board of directors each year at its annual general meeting in accordance with its constitution. These directors receive no remuneration and are responsible for the running of Swansea Masonic Hall Company Limited. The history of Freemasonry is a subject of debate. Freemasonry, as we know it today, began on the 24th of June 1717 with the founding of the first Grand Lodge at the Goose and Gridiron Ale House in St Paul's Churchyard. It was formed by the agreement of 4 London lodges, the oldest of which was thought to have existed in 1691. Evidence of its existence prior to 1691 is sparse. The honest answers to the questions when, where, and why did Freemasonry originate are not known. When members of a Masonic Lodge meet, they wear a uniform to show that whatever an individual's circumstances in life, within Freemasonry, they are all equal. Masonic symbols, such as the collar jewellery, display their logo, which is identified around the globe. The collar jewellery helps the member to provide help and support to others when the situation calls for it. Masonic jewels are worn by the members of the world's largest organisation to exemplify the feelings of universal brotherhood. Many new members of Freemasonry see other members wearing Masonic jewels such as rings, pins, cufflinks, or pocket watch. Masonic badges are the iconic emblems of Freemasonry that represent truth and knowledge. They stand for purity and represent something that is invisible. The square and compasses represent the fraternity of Freemasonry with an abstract idea. The symbols reflect the beliefs and traditions of brotherhood and teach symbolic lessons. The badge of a Mason is considered a tool and is said to be more honourable than the golden fleece or Roman eagle. Masonic aprons represent the pure heart and indicate purification life. They are presented to Freemasons for wearing to a lodge. The Masonic apron is compared with the noblest decorations of ancient and modern Europe. The Master Mason apron was white at the time of the formation of the Grand Lodge of England. It's made of lambskin or white leather. Masonic gloves are worn as a symbol of clean hands and pure heart. The custom of wearing Masonic gloves is of great antiquity and is really inseparable. The white gloves are spotless and signify that a person's hands must be as spotless as the gloves. Symbolic tools are used to teach members how to lead productive lives to benefit their community. The all-seeing eye represents the eye of God and is a reminder to Freemasons that God is always watching, seeing all of their actions and thoughts. The plumb rule means square and upright. The square and the level means treating people equally and with decency. The compass means a line you shouldn't cross or step over into bad behaviour. The anchor means living a life that is grounded in hope and peace. The Masonic blazing star is used to denote that a person uses knowledge to guide them like a star blazing against a dark night sky. The Masonic gavel is a reminder to Freemasons to chip off certain vices and maintain a pure moral and spiritual heart. Lodge officers are recognised by the jewels worn from their lodge collars and the position they have within the lodge. Steward is the first office held in the lodge, and the steward's main function is to assist at the dinner following the lodge meeting, the festive board. Inner guard sits just inside the door of the lodge. He is responsible for checking that all those who enter the lodge are qualified to do so. Junior and senior deacons accompany the candidate during the ceremonies of the 3 degrees in the lodge. The collar jewel for both deacons is identical. They carry a wand as a badge of their office. The senior warden sits opposite the master at the west end of the lodge and is usually the next master. The junior warden sits in the south of the lodge and will normally progress to senior warden. It is the role of the junior warden to ensure that no unqualified person enters the lodge. Although their roles are different, they work together by assisting the master in running the lodge. The master, worshipful master, is elected by the lodge members every year and is then installed into his office. He is usually master for 1 year, and he is in charge of the lodge during his tenure of office and acts as its chairman. He also normally conducts the ceremonies in the lodge. Being elected and installed as master is the highest honour a lodge can bestow on any of its members. The non-progressive officers are usually occupied by members who are past masters of the lodge and tend to be occupied by the same person for a number of years to provide continuity and experience. They are also appointed by the master annually, except the treasurer and tiler, who are elected. The immediate past master is normally the preceding year's worshipful master. Some lodges formally appoint a mentor to look after new members. Immediate past master is not actually an office, as the position is his by right. The IPM is normally the previous master and acts as a guide and support to the master when needed. He sits on the immediate left of the worshipful master. Chaplain all meetings begin and end with prayer, and it is the role of the lodge chaplain to lead the members in this part of the meeting. The treasurer is responsible for lodge finances. He produces annual accounts which are audited before being approved by the lodge. Subscriptions are decided in lodge on the treasurer's recommendation. The secretary has responsibility for the smooth administration of the lodge. He is the main conduit for communication from Grand Lodge and his provincial Grand Lodge, if the lodge is out of London, or from the Metropolitan Grand Lodge of London. He is also responsible for organising and distributing the summons notifying the members of the agenda for the next meeting. The Director of Ceremonies' role is to organise and oversee the ceremonies held in the lodge and to ensure all other officers concerned in any ritual are aware of their roles. This is usually achieved by meticulous rehearsals. It is also part of his responsibilities to see that the ceremonies are conducted with dignity and decorum. The Assistant Director of Ceremonies assists and is an understudy to the Director of Ceremonies. The Lodge Mentor has a vital role to play, as it is his responsibility to ensure that the mentoring process is not only implemented, but that it also works effectively in his lodge. The Almoner is the Lodge Welfare Officer. He maintains contact with the widows of members and with those who are ill or indisposed. He is also trained to assist those who are in financial need. He therefore has a knowledge of the variety of resources that exist, especially in time of need. The charity steward organises the charity collections in the lodge and suggests to the lodge which charities, Masonic or non-Masonic, the members may wish to subscribe. The Assistant Secretary also gives help and is an understudy to the Secretary. In some lodges, he has responsibility for the dining arrangements. The tiler guards the outside of the door to the entrance of the lodge. It is usually undertaken by an experienced member of the lodge and is an elected office. He has responsibility for preparing the candidates prior to their entering the lodge. An organist provides music for meetings and ceremonies, and they are usually professional. The Masonic Lodges of Swansea, together with the Provincial Lodge of South Wales, have channeled money raised through the Masonic Charitable Foundation to local and national charities that fund vital services such as hospices and air ambulances, contribute to disaster relief efforts, support children in hospital, provide education grants for young people, advance medical research by funding studentships, offer counselling to people in distress. Also, donations have been made to local food banks.